My name is Joanne. I'm standing in the lobby of my apartment building, watching as my brother Ethan drags 2 suitcases back to his car. His wife, Lily, is on the phone, arguing about the cost of same-day childcare. My mother, Victoria, walks out first, stiff and furious. The kids, Ava and Noah, look so small and lost. Ava waves at me, and my heart aches. It all started a few months ago. I lived alone in a high-rise in downtown Chicago. I worked long hours as a data security analyst for a big tech firm. My apartment was my sanctuary, a place where I could escape the chaos of the world. I had a smart lock, a 24-hour concierge, and a view of the city skyline. I thought it was the one place my family couldn't intrude. Ethan is 38, a sales rep for a pharmaceutical company. He's always been the charming one, but also the one who never quite made ends meet. Lily works at a high-end fashion store and loves to post about her luxurious lifestyle on social media. They have 2 beautiful kids, Ava, who is 8, and Noah, who is 6. I adore them, and my mother, Victoria, knows it well. Victoria is a retired school principal. She has a very strong personality, always used to getting her way. She speaks with an air of authority, like she's still in charge of a school full of students. For years, whenever I had a little extra money, Ethan or Lily would come to me with a sob story. When I got a bonus, Ethan needed help with his car repair. When I saved some money, Lily needed help paying off her credit card. One stormy Wednesday night, while I was working on a security report, my phone buzzed. It was Ethan. The message was short and to the point. Ava and Noah are coming over tomorrow. You're watching them. I stared at the screen in disbelief. I waited for him to ask nicely, to apologize for the short notice, but it never came. I typed back, "No, I'm not available." His reply was immediate, "Mom gave me your key. We'll drop them off at 7 a.m. Something inside me snapped. I realized this wasn't just about babysitting, it was about them having unrestricted access to my life, my time, and my money. I took screenshots of the texts, opened my building app, and called the front desk. I told them that an unauthorized family member had a key and might try to enter with 2 children. I also requested an emergency lock change before morning. I started documenting everything. I created a timeline of the events, from the moment Ethan informed me about the kids to the time I called the front desk. I also went through my banking history and found that in the past 28 months, I had sent a total of $12,500 to my family. $2,100 for Ethan's car repair, $2,600 for his credit card debt, $1,500 for Ava's dance classes, $1,300 for Noah's birthday party, and countless other smaller amounts for groceries, school supplies, and utility bills. Just as I was halfway through labeling the transactions, my phone rang. It was my mother. I started recording the call on my tablet and answered on speaker. "What did you do to the building access?" she demanded, her voice sharp. I calmly replied, "I removed unauthorized access to my apartment." She snapped, "Ethan is your brother, not a stranger." I told her that even a brother could be unauthorized. She got furious. "Those 2 kids are counting on you. Lily is exhausted, and Ethan has an important work trip. You're turning a simple favor into a huge deal," she said. I stayed quiet, knowing that if I let her talk long enough, she'd reveal the truth. And she did. She admitted that they planned it this way because they knew I'd say no if they asked earlier. She gave Ethan the key because she thought I'd cave in once the kids were involved. I looked at the spreadsheet in front of me and started reading the amounts out loud. $2,100 for your car, Ethan. $2,600 for your credit card, Lily. And all these other amounts for the kids' stuff. This isn't just normal family help, it's a pattern of you taking advantage of me. My mother shouted at me to stop, but I kept going. She finally said, "If you don't open that door tomorrow, don't call me your mother again." I took a deep breath and said, if being your daughter means giving up my home, my money, and my right to say no, then I can't afford to be your daughter anymore. She called me cruel and hung up. I sent all the evidence, including the call recording, the transaction spreadsheet, and the text messages, to my father, Henry. He's always been the quiet one, letting my mother take the lead in family matters. But this time, I hoped he'd see the truth. I barely slept that night. At 6:15 a.m., I got dressed and went to a coffee shop across the street from my building. I sat there with my laptop, but my mind was elsewhere. At 6:58 a.m., my building app sent a notification. Someone had tried to access my apartment with a disabled fob. I looked out the window and saw Ethan's car parked at the curb. The back hatch was open, and the kids' suitcases were on the sidewalk. Ava was holding her teddy bear, and Noah had a superhero backpack. Lily was wearing her travel clothes, looking impatient. Ethan was pounding on the call box. And then, my mother stepped out of the passenger seat. A few minutes later, a police car pulled up. The officers got out and walked into the building. I closed my laptop and walked across the street. When I entered the lobby, Ethan's face changed from anger to relief for a split second, but then he realized I wasn't going to give in. "Tell this guy to let us up," he said loudly. The concierge, Mark, asked me, "Do you authorize these visitors to enter your unit?" I said, "No." Lily gasped, and Ethan stepped closer. "Joanne, stop this." "We have a flight," he said. I replied, "You should have asked for my consent before making your travel plans." One of the officers, Officer Davis, asked who had agreed to take care of the kids. Ethan said, "She's their aunt." Officer Davis didn't blink. "That's not what I asked," he said. I pulled out my phone and showed him my text messages. Officer Davis read them carefully. My mother stepped forward and said, "This is just a family misunderstanding." Officer Davis replied, "Family misunderstandings don't give anyone the right to enter a private residence without permission." Noah started crying softly, and my heart broke. I crouched down and said, "Hey, buddy, you're not in trouble. None of this is your fault." Ethan snapped at me, "Don't act like you care." Officer Davis told him to lower his voice. Lily whispered that they were going to miss their flight. Ethan pulled out his phone to look for a sitter. My mother tried one last time. "You're choosing a lock over your family," she said. I replied, "I'm choosing consent over control." Mark printed a document and explained that due to the attempted unauthorized entry and disturbance, Ethan, Lily, and Victoria would be removed from my visitor list. Officer Davis added that if they left the kids in the lobby or tried to leave them with me after I refused, it could be considered abandonment. Lily's face went pale. That's when the power shifted. Ethan stopped yelling, and Lily started calling emergency child care services. My mother looked at me with cold anger and said, "You're no daughter of mine." I replied, "Then stop treating my apartment like it's yours." 15 minutes later, they left. The lobby was suddenly quiet. Mark asked if I was okay. I said yes, but my voice was shaky. I went upstairs, locked the new lock behind me, and leaned against the door until my legs stopped shaking. After they left, I was bombarded with texts and calls from my family. Ethan said I made the kids cry, Lily said I embarrassed them in front of the cops, and my mother posted a vague Facebook post about ungrateful children. I muted most of the messages without reading them. A few days later, my cousin, Sarah, sent me a screenshot of Lily's Instagram story. She was at a beach resort in Miami, looking relaxed and happy. The caption read, "Finally finding peace." I laughed, but it was a bitter laugh. I sent all the evidence to my extended family in a group chat. The chat exploded. My aunt, Helen, asked my mother why Ethan had my key. My uncle, Robert, pointed out the police incident number. Sarah posted about Lily's resort photos. My great-uncle, Charles, asked the crucial question, "If Joanne said no, why did you go to her building?" My mother didn't answer. Ethan said I had always helped before, so he assumed I'd do it again. My aunt replied, "Helping before is not consent forever." That sentence hit me like a ton of bricks. My father finally spoke up in the chat. "Joanne said no, and that should have been the end of it," he wrote. It was the first time he had stood up to my mother in front of the family. My mother left the group chat, and Ethan sent me a private message saying he thought I went too far with the cops but understood why I was mad. I replied that I wouldn't be their backup plan anymore. After that, I started making changes in my life. I canceled the recurring transfer to my mother, removed Lily from my memberships, and changed all my passwords. I also booked therapy. In therapy, I realized that my family had made me their safety net and called it love. 3 weeks later, my father called me. He said he read everything and that he should have stepped in years ago. He told me I was right to change the locks. It was a small step, but it meant the world to me. 4 months later, Ethan texted me to say they had hired a sitter for Lily's work conference. He said it was expensive, but they were managing. He didn't really apologize, but it was a sign of change. A year after the incident in the lobby, I moved into a bigger apartment on a higher floor. It had a beautiful view of the city and a separate study. I gave one of the keys to my friend, Maya, but only after she promised to use it only in an emergency. My career also took a turn for the better. The security report I finished that night led to a promotion. I now have more control over my work and enough savings to handle any emergencies. The next time I saw my family was at a cousin's wedding. I arrived alone, but this time, the word alone didn't feel like an insult. It felt like freedom. At the reception, I sat with my cousins, and they asked me about my job, my new apartment, and my boxing classes. No one asked me about babysitting or why I was being difficult. During the cocktail hour, I saw my mother near the dessert table. She looked older, and our eyes met. She looked away first. Later, Ethan approached me. He said the kids missed me, and I said I missed them too. He then said, "I shouldn't have brought them to your building that day." It wasn't a full apology, but it was a start. As I drove home that night, I thought about how much I had changed. I had learned that love without respect is not love. Boundaries are not selfish, they are a form of self-respect. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for yourself and others is to say no.